I remember being a young, spunky 19-year-old in college working full time in a call center in Richmond, California, which is a predominantly Black area, the hood, if you will. And there was a point at which they combined us with another call center that was in Oakland. We had dispatchers, technicians, tech support, all in one building. And we were Black and Hispanic, but mainly Black. And it just felt comfortable. To this day, that was my favorite job still. Everyone looked like me, and culturally, we were all similar. We were just doing our jobs. We were being ourselves and doing our jobs. And when we had potlucks, it was our kind of food, and you know what I mean. It's not until I had thought back on that this week that I realized that, you know what? This must be what non-marginalized people feel like in the workplace on a regular basis. You just don't think about it. You can focus on your work. And that's what I used to do. I just knew I was smart. I truly felt limitless. I knew I was going to do big things, and there was nowhere that I could not go. Now let's talk about something called assimilation. Assimilation is the process of becoming similar to something. And Black women in the workplace, especially in male-dominated industries, that's what we do. We've been assimilating for years. How we talk, how we dress, how we do our hair, even how we lead. We've been told for so long that we were not good enough and that we need to do things differently, more like our peers or our leaders that don't look like us. Okay, so fast forward a few years, I entered the real world of tech, where I was now one of a few Black people and a microcosm of Black women, usually the only Black woman. And it's still that way. Things were very different. I quickly realized that I didn't fit in. And I did. I tried. I really did. I would straighten my hair. I would start getting more quiet in meetings because my ideas weren't being acknowledged or they were being downplayed. I would practice reading out loud just to make sure I got the pronunciation just right. It got to the point where when my friends would call me and I was at work, they knew exactly where I was based on how I answered the phone. If I wasn't saying, hey girl, or girl, let me tell you, versus hello, they'd be like, oh, you at work. Okay, call me back. I started getting mistaken for the other Black girl in the office, and we looked nothing alike. I would get questions about my hair, and people would say inappropriate jokes around me. I would get bad performance reviews. I've been laid off. I directly and indirectly was told that I needed to be basically less magical. And honestly, y'all, I thought it was me. I thought this was an Aries problem. Am I doing too much? I thought I was messing up. I mean, I'm getting bad performance reviews. The microaggressions, which I didn't know was what it was called back then, because they just were, I don't think that was even a word at that point. But all of it started breaking me down, chopping me down from my high pedestal that I had put myself on because I just knew I was going to be a rock star. It broke me down. I wasn't speaking up in those meetings when I knew the answers. I knew how to solve the problem, but I just would not speak up anymore. I had lost my confidence. It was so bad that I remember crying in my director's office. And that's a no-no. But I wanted to give up so bad. Oh, and there were 3 other times where at different companies, I've held back tears because I just didn't want them to see me break. And I'm like, I know I'm supposed to be doing big things. Like, that never left my mind. But dang, I thought this was going to be the easier route. Go to college, get a good corporate job, Shoot, I was trying to be Claire Huxtable. And as a little girl, I would look up to her and I would say, I want to be a boss woman with a briefcase. I wanted to be able to tell people off with a smile. You know how Claire Huxtable used to do it. And then it just all came to a head when I was pretty much being tortured by a coworker. It was the most toxic environment I had ever been in. And I would repeatedly bring this up to my director and he would never address it. When I left that job involuntarily, I didn't even want to go back into another role in corporate. I took a year-long career pause to focus on my passions in the nonprofit sector with an organization called DFW, Alliance of Technology and Women. And then I started a podcast called Bold Black Girls. Me and my friend Kim started this podcast because I started learning that I wasn't the only one going through this. This wasn't an Aries problem. Black women all over were experiencing the same thing. And honestly, it was a relief because I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not the only one. But then it was also sad because I wasn't the only one. And so our podcast was born because we wanted to shift that narrative and take women on our professional and personal development journey to break free from that. Spreading the word to the masses. You are not the problem. So after taking that year off and learning that a lot of other Black women were going through the same things, I knew I wouldn't go back into the workplace the same way I went out. I said, if any company that I join from this point forward, I want to make sure that they know who they're getting. And if they don't like it, I don't want to work there, period. After being in enough toxic situations, you will get fed up. Like, forget this. I'm going to get comfortable. If I'm going out being myself, okay? And I realized that I had been burnt out trying to conform. It didn't work for me. It wasn't me. And keeping it a buck, people weren't accepting that fake version of me anyways. I still was dealing with everything that was going on, right? The microaggressions were still coming, even with the assimilating me. So I just told myself, well, you don't have anything to lose but myself if I didn't make that change. So it was time to test it out. Just 2 years ago, January marks today. I had an interview and there was a presentation required. So 30, 60, 90 day plan, right? And I decided to add a couple slides in before I get started to say, hey, here are some things that Aries enjoys, because I wanted them to get to understand who I was as a person. I'm a human being. Sometimes I think people forget that. Like we're some like zoo animal or something. The things on the slide included things like advocating for others, laughing, podcasting, traveling the world, yoga, motivational speaking, spending time with loved ones. And actually, it was a hit. I did get that job and it felt great. I was like, wow, they actually wanted me. When I stopped trying to conform, it opened my eyes. It literally freed me. Others did start acknowledging who I am and start to respect and honor and value me, Aries, the real Aries. I had to go through a process to reconvince myself of who I was. I had to reprogram myself. Again, we're talking about 20 years of programming to deprogram. And I don't want y'all going through 20 years of this. So that's why I wanted to share this with you today. Like, there's no need to try to be anybody else because you're going to consistently fail. Once you stop, you'll feel a burden lifted and you'll be able to relax. The people around you will benefit because they're experiencing you. I always make this comment about you're welcome. I mean, I don't tell them that, but that's what I'm thinking. You're benefiting from me allowing my magic to flow freely. Now, look, the environment that you're in may not change in your workplace. And honestly, it is risky. Everybody ain't ready for everything you bring. So you have to be the change for yourself. This is not about them or anybody else, but they will benefit from you walking in your truth. I mean, who doesn't benefit when Black Girl Magic is in the room? We don't have time for them to get it together. We have to do this for our mental health. And this is actually the perfect time. So how are you going to do this, right? Well, number one, we got to do the deprogramming part. That's going to take some work. You may need to go to therapy, get coaching, read some books, invest in yourself. That's the first thing. Because as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to me, because I'm still deprogramming. It's a long time. Then you're going to reprogram yourself by writing out your vision. Like, what is your goal? What's your end goal? I've always had a vision of being successful, what my version of success looks like. And even in these unsuccessful environments, I knew I was supposed to be doing something big and better. And having that in my mind when things get tough, game changer. Knowing you're working towards a big purposeful goal will help you take one more step. And then reaffirm yourself, right? That's a daily thing. Creating a habit of positivity as soon as you wake up, not getting on Instagram first, because that's definitely not going to help you. But whether it's reading your Bible, meditating, listening to positive podcasts like Bold Black Girls, affirmation or inspirational music, sitting outside, drinking coffee, whatever it is for you. I have these Post-it notes. I brought a couple of them that I keep on my bathroom mirror that I've had there for years. And one actually says, I'm free to create my own reality. I have choices in all situations. Nothing stands between me and my highest good. Another one says, I embrace success. The words I can't are not in my vocabulary. I refuse to believe my own excuses. And another one, which I think we all need to add to our list, is I release my attachment to everything that no longer serves me. I refuse to let anything or anyone hold me back. And finally, you're going to let your magic free. You just got to do it. You don't have to feel like it to do it. Just do it. Actually, you're going to you'll be afraid. Coming to work with your hair curly for the first time, scary. Telling your coworkers when they ask, what you do this weekend? Oh, I watched the versus battle between Snoop Dogg and DMX. That could be a little bit terrifying, but you have to start somewhere. And even now, as I'm talking to you, I have to talk to myself every day out of playing small and doubting myself, because I've been so conditioned. We underestimate the power of the conditioning. Hell, this may go back to our ancestors. You know, I'm talking about 20 years, but who knows? It could be even more than that. But this was just 2 years ago that I started taking this path of choice to be me. I got spiritual advisors, therapists, coaches, and anything else I need to help me break free. And I'm learning that it is a practice. It's a daily practice, but it's so fulfilling. People talk about bringing your full self or your authentic self to work, but for us, we're bringing magic. And other people are relying on you to bring that magic. They may not know it, but we all have a part to play. There's a reason God created you just the way you are. There's a reason you're at that job with those people. And it's just time to walk in that. So to all the women of color who think you have to be anything but yourself in the workplace, me, Aries, I'm giving you permission to walk in your truth. And to my sisters, my bold Black girls, let that Black girl magic free. Thank you.